Today I go over the 7 things in Rainbow Six Siege that you forgot existed. Now whether that may be that you joined late or you just never even realised that this was a thing, either way these are 7 things that you didn't even know was in the game. Now if you are OG player and played in the alpha, and then you probably did know this, but as there were more people joining the Rainbow Six community, there were lots of things in the old Rainbow that didn't last that long and were forgotten things that no one knew about. So the first thing I want to go over is that Kuvira, Smoke and Frost used to have a nitro cell upon their operators being released, but 1.5 months down the line of Kuvira being out, in the mid-season reinforcements of Skull Rain, they introduced impact nades, which then came to the reasoning of why the nitro cell of Kuvira was removed, and then were given impact nades because she's a roamer and do need rotations. Smoke losing his C4 is just mainly because like he is just too good with too many denial gadgets, like a C4 and Smoke. That was a bit too much for him. Frost had a C4 and I have no idea why, but I think this was removed because Frost within the launch of Dustline. In Dustline the C4 was removed and was given barbed wire instead, but the reason they removed it I think was because that they felt that the Super 90 was a bit too OP back in the time. Well yeah, back in the time it was OP, and having the C4 in the same loadout was just a bit too much and too good. So yeah, that Kuvira, Smoke and Frost all used to have nitro cells, which is really weird to think. The next thing is that Thermite and Capital used to have 4 grenades. Now not just specifically Thermite and Capital, any operators back then that had grenades did have 4, but Thermite and Capital specifically had grenades, which is weird to think. They were both removed from Thermite and Capital around like April of 2018, and you can see why, because with Thermite his breaching potential was a bit too powerful, as well as having like the grenades. Like he had enough utility just to proceed a solo push, and then they removed the grenade in order to force him into more of a support player rather than a fragging operator. And as for the reason for Capital, it is like the same really. He was turned into a support character rather than a fragger. He had too much utility, like 2 firebolts, 2 smokes and frag grenades. That's just a bit too much. Okay, the next thing we have is Twitch, and Twitch used to have 30 tasers. 30 tasers overall. That's just okay, just what is this? So at first she had a normal drone in the prep phase and a Twitch drone once she spawned in. They then changed it around so that she had a Twitch drone in the prep phase, and she now has 2 Twitch drones, and both Twitch drones had 15 tasers, which make 30 tasers in total, which is just insane to think. Like you could just get rid of so many gadgets within the prep phase, and just overall like you could just get rid of like all of the mute jammers, all of Jaeger ADS, all of Capcan traps, all of I don't know what else is there, Bandit I guess. It was just crazy to think. And not only just getting rid of gadgets, like just think that like you could literally just go around and just tase a lot of enemies. Like 30 tasers, if you were smart you could get 3 kills with that if you were to hit all your shots. Okay, moving on to the next thing is Blackbeard. Now his shield used to be fully invincible, like not just a lot of health, just fully invincible. When Blackbeard first came out his shield was indestructible. Then obviously later down the line they did need to change this and made it into 800 health, which is still very OP and stupid. And if you think he's OP now, just imagine what it would have been like back then. Not like a blitz where you have a pistol and your head is exposed. You have a fully automatic weapon where your head is covered by something with 800 HP. Just like, and the fact that in a game like Rainbow where one shot headshot is such a big deal, you could see like how good Blackbeard was. And yeah, 800 health was still too much, and it was later brought down to the fact that he now has 2 Blackbeard shields, both having 150 health. That was still too OP, as he could literally outgun literally anyone. So it was brought down to 60 HP, and as you can imagine this was still OP, and is now brought down to 50 HP, and that is like why he is called Nerfbeard, now you know. But even with 50 HP some can still call him OP, as he can literally outgun anyone by peeking a window. And I really do bet that Ubisoft regrets even thinking of making this operator. That's a feels bad. Right, next up on the line we have Capcan. Now Capcan's traps used to have invisible lasers. Not invisible, visible It's invisible now, but they used to be visible and were insta-kills upon release. Now, what we know to this day is that they are invisible and deal 40 to 60 damage, but back then they were an insta-kill. They wouldn't injure, they would literally just fully kill you. And within the Blood Orchid mid-season reinforcements is when they changed it to what it is now. And they might not still, well, it's 40 to 60 damage, that is still a lot of damage. But you could no longer like hide and just get that satisfaction of getting a random insta-kill. And you had, I think back then you actually had 4 of these, and then they added on a 5th one but made it do less damage. So that might be something that you didn't know about Capcan. Moving on to the next thing, which is the more known thing, is that the SMG 11 MP7, the 416C all used to have ACOG. This was a very big thing, like bring back Jaeger ACOG, bring back Bandit ACOG, all of that. Now this was removed in Blood Orchid launch. Now that doesn't actually seem too far away. That was when Legion was released, and that seemed like it was yesterday. I remember watching the reveal for that, and just to think that is when such a broken thing was removed feels weird. It feels weird how long it was in the game. They said that no 3 speed or 2 speed were allowed ACOGs, that they could roam around and kill like at such a long range. They then broke this bond once Gaio was introduced, as he has an ACOG and he is a 2 speed 2 armor. They stated that they wanted to test how things would go, and as if like it seems as if it worked out on Gaio, as it's suitable. But let's just hope that it doesn't get out of hand and do on other operators with such an OP gadget and weapon. This is one of the more known things. But moving on to the next thing, it's not such a big deal this next one, but you used to be able to hear enemies operator callouts, which made it easy for attackers to pinpoint defenders when they were setting up. That would have been the same other way around, but the attackers had more of an advantage here. So when an operator shouted out like placing down my barbed wire, the attacker was able to hear that, or just like any other calls really were able to be heard. And this was removed within the launch of Operation Black Ice, so this was a thing very early on, and it was quite clear how broken it was, hence why it was removed so early on. And it was probably just removed because like it was just too unbalanced and it would allow for you to be more sneaky. And overall it is just broken, like why would that even exist in a game like Rainbow Six Siege? The fact that you could hear an operator call out like, oh, I'm reinforcing this wall, like you could actually hear it. But even now, I guess you can just hear them reinforcing the wall anyway, even if the characters won't say anything. So I guess it's the same either way, but you could just see how broken this would be. So let me know, was there anything on this list that you didn't know about? So we had Kuvira, Smoke and Frost, who all used to have Nitro Cell. Thermite and Capital used to have 4 grenades. Twitch used to have 30 tasers in total. Blackbeard's shield used to be fully invincible. Capcan traps used to have visible lasers and were insta-kills. The SMG 11, MP7, 416C all used to have ACOGs, and you used to hear operator callouts. Were there anything on this list that you didn't know about? Which ones did you know about? And that is pretty much everything, so I hope you all have a wonderful day, and goodbye.